And it looks like we're live. Greetings, everyone. How are we all doing today in the chat? I hope you're doing pretty good. Welcome to yet another installment of Brony Debates Live. Today we are going to be talking about which characters have made the most or least progress throughout the series of Friendship is Magic. Today joining me, we got the gentleman who requested this topic, a man who's helped me with editing my videos a few times, pretty good at his job, NeoAnton. How are you doing today?
Doing fine.
Good. And with me, hopefully as always, is my good friend Skan 120. Skan, how are you doing today?
Doing okay.
Nice. And joining us for the first time is a good friend of mine, Countess Marie Rose. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How is everyone?
Seem to be doing pretty good across the board here. And then making sure you are all on your best behavior in the chat, as well as taking note of any of your questions, is the lovely Princess Heather Blossom. How are you doing today, Heather?
I have a cat on my lap and I'm spraying his claws, but you know, I'm still in good. No, don't touch that!
Before we get started, I have a minor request of Countess. I think we're getting some echo from you. So
One sec.
yeah, speakers down or headphones, that would be great. Sorry for the trouble.
If you hear shrieks, it's probably because my headphones are weird and it might be loud for a sec.
That happens sometimes. I'm sorry about that. So, yeah, today's going to be a good day. We're talking about character growth, which is a very interesting topic, especially, early in the fandom. I'd say the first 3 seasons, the hot topic was out of character, repeating messages, things of that nature. So hearing what everybody thinks about that is going to be pretty interesting. Chat, if you guys have any comments or questions for any of us, feel free to ask them at any time. If you want to address a specific point that any of us make, that's great. That's what Heather is here for, to address that. And, so first we're going to talk about who has who has progressed the most over the series. And then we're going to talk about who has regressed the most over the series. Bounce our ideas back and forth a little bit. And then we're going to, in the back half of the stream, take your questions and comments at that point. So before we begin, we got one last thing to take care of. I got to make sure that the people who support my channel and these streams are given their due. These guys are the $10 and up tier on my Patreon. They are Autoknight, Sodden Girder, Senko, Jennan Kellogg, Kyle Christensen, DJ Skywalker, Mike's Geek World, and the Equestrian City Heroverse series. So be sure to check out all that stuff. The links are in the description at any time, as well as check out any of the links for my co-hosts and moderators here. And with that, I think we are ready to go. So let's start with the guy who wanted to talk about this in the first place, Neo. What are your thoughts? Who has seen the most character development since the show began?
I would have to say Florida would have to be the biggest one who had the biggest character development.
Okay, why's that?
When watching back and just double checking, going back from season 1, she was very shy, timid. She stayed to herself. She really didn't communicate that much. But as you watch the season, she got episodes based on how she was very shy to get her stop being so shy and also stand up for herself. Especially, I think one of the biggest episodes that stick out to me was the one when Fabrizi, I think the episode was called, when everybody when she had to take care of them, and she would have a hard time to actually. She took care of them, but they need to go back to nature, and that's the first time she actually had to stand up for herself without anybody being there to help her, really. And that kind of came around another time when was a Rainbow Dash and her turtle were hibernating when she had to be tough on Rainbow Dash, even though it was mostly focused on Rainbow Dash. Fluttershy kind of took the show a little bit because he stood up stood up, put her foot down to stop Rainbow Dash from crying over, the
Tank.
turtle from Tank.
Oh no,
Yeah,
she put that hoof down all right. She put that hoof down right into Dash's heart. That was mean, if anything. All right, so that's pretty interesting. Skan, what do you think?
I agree with the Fluttershy thing.
Okay. Do you have any different reasoning or any other examples you want to pull to that, or is that about as simple as it gets?
It's just to know that I might be kind of quiet on this topic. I'll come in and out, but
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time pinpointing what character development is.
Interesting. Why is that?
I just generally watch things and they seem to progress. I don't really catch the little parts where they change into the next part of their evolution.
Well,
I just have a general feel when I like the character.
okay, and I'm actually gonna address that after we get through the line here. So, Countess, what do you think?
Well, obviously Fluttershy has gone through a great deal of character growth, but I was actually wanting to, the character I picked was actually Shining Armor.
Okay.
As a guy who started off as basically just a, hey, by the way, Twilight has a brother plot point who's getting married, and was basically just set dressing for the Changeling Queen and Princess Cadence to fight over. He's now kind of a nerdy dad who kind of freaks out and is dorky all the time. And I used to hate him, now I kind of love him. So,
have you ever read the IDW comics and seen Shining Armor in that?
I've read a few, but I don't see them as canon. They're more, if anything, a subcanon. Okay. I did read the one of the earlier comics where they were basically how Shining Armor and Cadence got together.
Alrighty then. And just for the sake of curiosity, Heather, what do you think? Are you there, Heather?
Well, yes. I just like to mute myself in case, I have a jingling bell on a cat right next to me, so I don't want to annoy people with the noise. I would say I'm on two different ends. I would say most noticeably, the two characters that I see the most progression from have been Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash. Fluttershy, for the reasons we've already stated, it comes off so ordinarily now. It's just so normal for her to speak her mind and speak up when things aren't exactly right. But she still has sort of a passive personality, but definitely not a submissive one anymore. And Rainbow Dash, despite me not liking her, there is a big difference in her personality and the changes she's made. She does, when's the last time you've heard her, call someone else an egghead? The last time I remember her even using the word was when the Friendship Academy started, and she was afraid of being called one. Because I think she comes to terms with that she also has, a part of a nerdy personality inside of her. She's not so, black and white anymore, not just the straight-up jock that she used to be.
Yeah, that's certainly interesting, but now I'm mad because you stole my thunder. I was going to say Rainbow Dash. But because you did that, now I have to say Starlight Glimmer.
How dare you?
Oh, I do dare, all right? We were perfectly fine until you stole my thunder. No, so I'm between Starlight Glimmer and Rainbow Dash. Because, Rainbow Dash has certainly been humbled more than anybody else. Her ego has always been the biggest obstacle that she more routinely has to come to terms with, whether or not it's thinking she's the best, or doubting whether or not she committed a crime, or, just not being able to make peace with the way that the world works. Hence, thanks for the memories, rather. The people with the biggest egos are always the ones that get the crap kicked out of them the hardest. And I think she's the best example of that. And as a result, we do see her in more recent episodes. It takes a lot more to get her to a place where she's just flying off the rails and being as boastful and cocky as she was in early seasons. Additionally, she had a very concrete goal at the beginning of the series, which was become a Wonderbolt. And then as of, I believe, season 6, she is, in fact, a Wonderbolt. And even since then, thank God, it didn't end with becoming a Wonderbolt. She's had to, since then, learn about how to be a team, which is just another hit to the ego that she has to take. With Starlight Glimmer, while there hasn't been much of a shift in her personality, she's definitely a lot less of a control freak and flies off the rails and uses dark magic to try to control everybody. She started off as an evil Twilight, and now she's a much more balanced Twilight, even more so than Twilight herself, because we see that Twilight still has a tendency to Twilight, but or Twilighting as the phrase goes. So now that we've said all of that, we're running into a little bit of a problem here, and the fact is that everybody on this panel is wrong. So, what do you guys think about any of the stuff that like? All right, so we got Neo and Skan saying that Fluttershy has made the most progress. What puts Rainbow Dash over, or Shining Armor over Fluttershy? Let's start with Countess.
I'm sorry, you kind of blipped out for me on that. Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, so Neo and Skan think that Fluttershy has made the most progress. Why has Shining Armor or Rainbow Dash or Starlight Glimmer beat her in that regard? We'll start with Countess.
Okay, so Fluttershy beating the other ones?
No. How can we say that the other ones have made more progress than Fluttershy?
Well, now that you bring up Starlight.
Oh, don't let me.
Well,
win
like
that
with
easily.
let me just go through the list.
Okay.
Fluttershy, I feel like she obviously she's come out of her shell a little bit, but she's still more of that. I'm going to kind of hang in the back instead of taking steps forward, and obviously she's never going to go the full length because she is more of an introvert, more of a passive personality. And we've seen that develop character growth, that personality development, and the same can be said for Starlight Glimmer. She's actually almost done a complete 180 within her worldview. But personality-wise, she's still, what's the best word to describe her?
Is she still herself?
Yeah, she's still herself. She's just, her worldview and her outlook on life just basically did a 180.
Mm-hmm.
So her personality hasn't really changed, but her outlook on life has.
So you're
Shining
saying...
Armor, we started with, he is a bland set he has gone and he actually has developed a personality from what we've seen.
Okay, so how has he developed that personality? Where have we seen that?
Well, like, just like small things of like his interactions with other people and
Okay, so Neo, what do you think? So basically, if I'm getting what you're saying correct here, Fluttershy's personality has changed the most, but not her mannerisms or her morals and things like that. Where Starlight has had the biggest change in ethics and worldview, but not so much her personality. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right.
Like her personality is still kind of just like baseline. It's just how she views things has changed.
Okay, so Neo, what do you think about that? Because you're the one getting called out here. Don't let her win that easy.
She did kind of stood up in that one, not like fully stood up, but she did. Someone took charge when she had to take over. Was it Verity Shop? That one episode.
Okay.
She came up with all the multiple personalities.
Well, is that really her personality when she does coping mechanisms?
Got it there.
Oh man, you just I haven't seen a SmackDown that bad in a little while. Skan, what do you think? Anything?
I'm not sure.
Not sure. All right.
I'll pitch in when I know something.
Okay,
Also-
that's all good. What are you thinking, Neo?
Also, I'm also surprised nobody didn't say nothing about Rarity.
Rarity, I don't think has really changed at all.
She's
aside-
been her fabulous self.
Yep.
Yeah, she was perfect. She didn't need to change. If you could say anything, you could say. You all wanted me to talk when you said Rarity. Let's get Heather.
Yeah, it was only a matter of time until someone brought up Rarity and triggered Heather.
Oh, I will say that the only stakes that have changed for Rarity is that her influence, I want to say, because her business has gone places, and financially, I bet she's loaded.
Yep, that'd be the life right there. Okay, so, what I would say about Shining Armor is, I think the problem with Shining Armor and showing his development is that lack of screen time. I would actually say Shining Armor hasn't developed at all, if any. I mean, yeah, it's always a development a little bit, I guess. So I'm a little wrong there, but it's always a little bit of a development when you get married and have a kid and become the ruler of a country. But aside from his personality, I haven't seen him change his outlook on anything. I haven't seen him change his morals on anything. I haven't seen him get stronger in any way. I've just seen him tested, and I've seen him at his worst in how he reacts to certain stimuli. But what I see in Shining Armor now is very consistent, almost exactly the same with what I suspected he would be like when he was first introduced, where Rainbow Dash has actually had all of the on-screen progress that we've seen. So what do you think about that, Countess?
I can see the argument.
Okay, do you have any sort of rebuttal?
Well, I can see it that way. It's like, because when we met him, we knew nothing about him. Fluttershy, we kind of got the basic rundown of her personality. She's shy. And Starlight Glimmer was basically evil Twilight, as we all said. She's basically the exact opposite. Twilight, Shining Armor, we knew nothing, so I guess we just learned more about him, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And over a longer period of time. It's more like we got to know him gradually instead of having, here is their personality traits, go.
Yeah, and Shining is a really cool character. Like, even when he first appeared, I'm like, okay, here's a guy who cares about his family, who is clearly strong and intelligent, to be able to maintain that bubble, to, know about the threat, to, be taking countermeasures against it. So he's going to have a lot of those tropes, and I know that he's brave because of how he tried to tackle Incorporeal Sombra in the season 3 opener. And we know that he can teach and train, which I think are really cool. We just haven't seen him do anything else. So there's really no room for improvement there versus someone like Rainbow Dash or Starlight, or especially Fluttershy. Now, going back to Skan. So Skan said when he's watching a series, he doesn't always notice the progression. And what I would argue for that is I believe that that's very purposeful on the writer's part. When they get together, during the season or before a season begins and they're about to start writing, they gotta figure out what story beats they're gonna hit with a certain character. And if you're spending an extended period of time with a character, and if the character is well written, they're gonna be just like any person that you know. And if you spend a certain amount of time with a character, you might not notice any kind of overnight change like you might associate with watching an episode for 20 minutes. But over time, as that person develops and goes through their own trials, you're going to see a gradual change. Like I was just having this conversation last night with one of my friends, is that I'm a very different person now than I was when I was, into my early years in my first couple of years of college, and especially when I was a teenager in high school. A lot of my core personality is still there, but the way I handle things is very different. But if you were to ask most people in my family, they wouldn't be able to tell you much of a difference because they haven't really seen all of those story beats that I've been hitting in my own life. So what do you guys think about that? Is it normal to notice a sharp change in somebody's character without some sort of inciting incident?
Oh, probably not my place though.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I kind of had that too because the progression has been so natural. Like Fluttershy's progression didn't really hit me until like an instance, like in the recent episode of My Little Pony. What was it called when the sisters went on holiday? When she was dealing with things, she was like, "I need you to do this," and she's like, "Oh, but if you have the time." It's like she forgot to be shy for a minute, or something. Like she put something first, and I'm like, "Oh, she really has changed," because I feel like she didn't do these things before. She wasn't the one to come out and ask for something or start making giving directions. So
why is that progression and not being out of character?
Because I guess I think back to like, wait, this reminds me of other instances in episodes, and this is just something that's slowly been worked in, has been happening, because she has, like, I think people were always like, oh, she's learning the same lessons over and over again. I'm like, no, she's not exactly relearning it, she's reviewing it, remembering it, and putting it into action, and now she doesn't need to have an episode every time that happens, she just does it now.
Does anybody have anything to say either to what Heather just said or to what I just said about gradual character development?
Well, I feel like when you, because it might be like why I chose Shining Armor over people we've seen more often. It might be because when we are around people a lot and their personalities slowly shift from one aspect to another and they're growing as a person, you don't really see that because it's so gradual and you're just there the entire time until you actually look back and say, wow, I was really different when I was younger, or this person was really different when we were younger, and you didn't notice it until you start to reflect. But if you aren't hanging around people constantly and you are maybe see them like once or twice a year and like it's like, you're really different from the last time I saw you. And that difference is instantly noticeable.
Yeah, kind of like
in comparison
me,
to people that you see around.
Kind of like me, and if anybody from my high school saw me right now, they'd be like, oh, snap, when did you lose that ponytail that went down past your shoulder blades?
Yeah, same for me. It's like, oh, wow, you actually talk.
No, that's pretty good. That's a good thing to happen there, and I think that's normal. So let's ask this question then: who has had the least or development or worse regressed in one way or another since the show has begun? Neo, what do you think?
That was actually a tricky one. The person I had to come up with would have to be Applejack, kind of.
Okay, so how so?
Applejack, it seemed like they repeating the same lessons over and over again for her mostly.
Ooh, I hate that word. Or that phrasing, but go ahead. Defend yourself.
What was it? Majority of all her episodes, when she tried to learn something, usually be because she thinks she right, she overdo it. Like how thing with like season 1, she tried to do everything herself and didn't want no help. And then to repeat that episode again, and the same thing when it become into trying to trust other people to let other people help. She thinks she had what's best for them, but turned out what she had best for them was the wrong thing. Like for Applejack, I think, for Apple Bloom, it happened once when Apple Bloom wanted to do something, but then Applejack didn't want her to do it, but turned out she sort of let Apple Bloom do it in the first place. Then the same thing happened when the elderly people, that one episode when they want to go on the roller coaster and other stuff, then Applejack constantly stopped them from having fun and kept things doing the best thing for them.
Yeah, Brony, get out of the episode. Okay, so that's you and I are going to have a little bit of a sparring match once we get down the line here, but let's ask Skan first. Do you have any thoughts on that? Who has progressed the least in the series?
Progressed the least in the series. My answer would be pretty much every single background pony that's semi come to the forefront.
Oh, that's cheating. I can't even argue that, but it's cheating. That's like you're playing Mortal Kombat and just spamming the low quick punch. How dare you? All right, I'll leave it at that for now. Maybe I'll think of something while I'm going down here. Ooh, I'm mad. Countess, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with King Sombra. He's shown up, tried to take over certain aspects of Equestria, laughed maniacally, got blown up.
I don't really do the whole sharing thing.
Rinse and repeat.
Well, all of 2 times.
I know. They need to stop blowing him up. Give him a chance.
Listen, he gets blown up a lot, and I have a feeling that I'm not exactly helping the situation with my videos. If you count, let me see, he's gotten blown up twice in the show. 3 times.
3 times, actually.
3 times in the show, if you count the flashback. 3 times in the show. Twice in the comics.
Actually counting. Okay.
Yeah, no, 4 times. You're right. He got blown up twice in that one episode.
The flashback did not count. That was a repeat of the first time.
So we got the flashback from the Crystal Empire. We got the end of the Crystal Empire. We got 2 times in the beginning of the end. I believe 2, maybe even 3 times in the comics, and 4 times if you count 4 additional times if you count my videos. So
stop blowing up the king.
That guy, the only one who gets blown up as much as he does is Chrysalis. But the difference between them is Chrysalis doesn't die. So no, that's actually very funny, and you're definitely right. Who do I think has progressed the least? I think... you know what? I'm going to get a whole lot of hate for this. I think Twilight has progressed the least. Because she's been put into... She's always being put into different positions. But every time she gets put into a different position, her slate gets cleaned in a certain way. So it's like, yeah, she learned to relax and not freak out when it came to writing friendship lessons to Celestia every week on the dot. But then you take her out of that, you raise the stakes even slightly, or if it's a different situation where relaxing and not worrying about it too much would solve the problem just as easily, she's still freaking out at the drop of a hat. So... now we're running into this problem again where all of us are wrong. So, Neo, what do you think?
I have to agree with Twilight because he was another one that was very at the... Because anytime they get into a new position, they seem to be the same repeat almost.
Oh, my friend, why are you just letting everyone win tonight?
What?
You see, I would say that Applejack... hasn't... I'll agree that Applejack hasn't made a whole lot of progress, but oh man, does it grind my gears when people say she learns the same lesson over and over again. It's not that she's learning the same lesson over and over again, it's that the lessons she's learning all have to do with different aspects of family life and what that means for somebody. What do you think about that?
Well, that's a good point because it's with different type of people and not like with the same person over and over again.
Because we've got well, I guess the one caveat I could give you is something like Some Pony to Watch Over Me versus the Golden Girls Club. I'm certain I'm misremembering that episode's title, where she's worrying needlessly about people that can handle themselves perfectly well. So I guess that's sort of the same lesson there. But Some Pony to Watch Over Me was about watching out for your family and coming to terms with the fact that they're growing up. Give me another Applejack episode. You don't need to. The family reunion. The Apple family reunion was about trying to be controlling and making everything go perfectly and recreating events that were supposed to happen organically. So it's still an aspect of family life, but it's a completely different aspect. I don't know. Am I flying off the rails here? Am I crazy? Or
No, I think I kind of agree with you on that one. It's like, it's not, it might, if you talk about it in a general sense, yeah, it might seem like Applejack needs to chill, but it's more of, her thing is like how to deal with different aspects of your family. She's basically, my family has this issue. I'm going to put this character in a similar scenario that I can then apply to understanding what's going on in my family. She's that character insert for the audience. So, and it's not really the same lesson. It's more like learning how to handle and stay relaxed in different family scenarios.
Applejack is definitely the mom friend of the group. I think that sums it up relatively well here. Heather, what do you think?
When it comes to who's progressed the least,
Yeah.
I was kind of with you on Twilight, because I'm thinking about it, like how everyone started at the beginning of the show and how they are now. Like between her and maybe Applejack, like I see a little different. They've definitely been put in different positions in different situations, but they behave the same. We have the term twilighting now, so basically a rehash of what you said. Yeah, I don't see much difference.
All right.
Maybe in Applejack's case, at least, she didn't need to develop because she was already a fully realized adult. She already has her path in life figured out. She already knows what she's doing.
Yeah, and unlike Rarity or Rainbow Dash or Starlight, or they don't really have any. Well, Applejack anyway doesn't really have any goals beyond what she already has, and Fluttershy didn't open her mouth about her goals until season 7.
I would disagree.
Okay, why's that?
Basically because of how Twilight started out. She was the diligent student. She was the I don't need friends pony, and now she is the oh my god, what are my friends? How can I help my friends now?
She's got to spread friendship to the rest of the world.
Yeah, it's like we take the most antisocial pony, who had to be kicked out of the castle by her mentor to go and run errands for her to interact with people.
Hold on, I thought we were talking about Twilight, not Moondancer.
We are. Who are you talking about?
Well, it sounded like you were describing Moondancer for me. Moondancer
No. Moondancer attempted to that, and then she got snubbed at a party by Twilight.
And then she completely just regressed into becoming a hermit, where I think Twilight's issue was she had bigger priorities. Yeah, she didn't really know why she was studying, other than that she liked to study and liked to learn things. But when Nightmare Moon was coming along, and like, imagine yourself in that situation. You got a threat looming of Nightmare Moon, and your teacher, the most powerful pony in the world, is going, hey, go make some friends, forget about all that. I don't know, I completely understand.
Well, like, when she got the assignment to go make some friends, she didn't really see that as an assignment from the princess. She just was like, okay, Sun Mom wants me to just interact with people. There's my interaction for the week.
Did you just call her Sun Mom?
Yes, I just called her Sun Mom.
All right, you know what? I'll let you have it. So let me ask everybody this: does anybody else think that Countess was cheating, using a villain that's not yet redeemed? Does anybody else think that was cheating? No.
You broke up. I don't know the question.
Okay, does anybody else think that Countess was cheating by calling on Sombra for the least development? Calling on somebody that's an unrepentant villain who is most likely dead.
Nah, cheating was saying no, background characters didn't develop the most. That's cheating.
Yeah, background characters are cheating.
Shun.
I feel like this section has been like, let's see if we can trigger Brony as much as possible. Bring a standard villain.
It really has.
The only other villain I can think about that could be less progressive than, what is it? Sombra would have to be Flynn and Flan, because how many times?
Oh man, yeah, they just keep trying the same thing over and over again, don't they? Say, brother, what's our next multi-level marketing scam?
So I'll just scam more people every single time.
Hey, they're at least successful to a certain degree.
Wait a second, brother. I think we should start a university. Oh, great, brother. Let's get the government to subsidize our loans. And then we'll jack up the prices 400%. Yeah! Let's sing a song about it.
So the one when they were like, go into the room and use your imagination.
Yeah, villains don't count.
Villains do count. Villain lives matter.
Villain lives matter when they are repentant, okay? Sunset Shimmer matters. Princess Luna matters. Discord matters. Starlight Glimmer, shut up, Heather, matters.
What to do?
Heather, they're attacking.
I'm feeling personally attacked. I came here to have a good time. I mean, what the hell? Starlight Glimmer's life matters to me, Brony. It matters because I want her to die.
So that's
Brony, I'm about to start a hashtag over this shit.
Oh, we're
hashtag villain lives matter.
Villain lives matter. Oh jeez. You would say that, changeling. Oh man.
What does that mean?
Exactly what you think it means.
Racist.
Speciesist.
You're just prejudiced against me because I wear a black blazer. It's because I'm brown, isn't it? That's an old joke I haven't used in a while. Alrighty. Okay, so getting back on track here, why are villains calling on villains or background characters not cheating? What do you think, Skan? I haven't heard you say anything in a little bit. Why are background characters not cheating?
Did I say they're not cheating?
Well, I said they're cheating. I'm telling you to defend your answer.
That it's not cheating?
Defend your answer. Background ponies aren't cheating.
I'll fully admit it's cheating. I unabashedly cheat.
Alrighty then.
But if there's one character, are we talking about before the hiatus, or can we choose someone who, if an episode that comes out after the break changes it?
I'm guessing you've watched ahead to the leak episodes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Let's keep it to what's officially aired in America for the moment.
No spoilers.
Okay, then I don't got any characters that I think are the least developed. They're least developed. My choice right now is a character, but the character gets more developed in the next second half.
All right, so maybe
we'll have to come back to.
Yeah, because Neo's been watching ahead too.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a completely different subject right there. Okay, so why are villains not cheating then? Are the unrepentant villains not cheating then?
Okay. So I'm going to bring in my personal experience because that's why you brought me here.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, I live in the realm of fan fiction, and when something is more developed in the realm of fan fiction, and I go back and look at the original material, I was like, there is so much you can do with this character. I am disappointed.
Okay. So that's are you bringing fan fiction into the canon? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, I'm just saying that there is fan fiction that has developed the character more thoroughly, and then there's the canon that is just like sad and underdeveloped and no growth, and it makes me sad.
I, not to be disrespectful, but I really don't see how that correlates right here.
Well then,
Yeah.
I believe we've come to an impasse then.
We have definitely come to an impasse, and with that impasse, we're going to move on to the chat. Heather, the chat looks like it's been relatively active. Do we have any interesting comments that have been going on since we started?
There was a pun at the beginning. You want to hear it?
Yes, I want to hear it.
Why do octopuses stay away from numbers?
Because they have tentacles.
Yes.
That
And
one's...
other than that, we've got everyone saying hi. Everyone say hi back to the chat, please.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah.
And we haven't had too many questions yet that are relevant, so if you guys want to start typing in questions relevant to the topic, that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I think somebody wanted some popcorn, hashtag Villain Lives Matter, and some heart emojis. So that's been great.
All right. Yeah, that's pretty. That's
Good
pretty.
job.
Yeah. So, chat, if you got any questions, for that kind of thing,
Is Elior freaking out?
Elior is freaking out. Elior does not like puns, and I could just hear the pain dripping off of Heather's
Elior.
voice. I could just
Look,
hear.
Elior, I don't like it either. It's his stream. Let him have it. I shouldn't even let you have it because in my stream you do it anyway, and you don't on it. So I should just put a ban on your stream for puns.
But then it wouldn't be my stream. Like,
Heather is censoring the puns.
How are you?
How dare she?
How are you just gonna cripple my stream like that, Heather?
I didn't do it because I'm actually a good significant other, unlike some people.
Yeah, Neo, what's your problem?
Hey guys, how about we answer an actual question? What about Starlight Glimmer's development? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, well, we talked about towards the beginning there. If you weren't in at the beginning, I'd say we said Starlight Glimmer, or I said anyway, Starlight Glimmer hasn't changed so much in the way of her personality, but she's calmed down a lot. She's become more optimistic, and the way Countess worded it is that her worldview has changed, and what I said is she's a lot less likely to freak out and use dark magic to try to get her way, as of recent. Is that about right? Does anybody want to add anything onto that or contradict me in any way?
Well, Brony, I want to put in real quick that you've been cutting in and out this entire stream, so if you have to reiterate a few things, I'm sorry, but it probably should just be done.
Oh, thank God it wasn't my headphones.
No, like, it's been the whole time. I'm like, this is gonna get annoying.
Yeah, I've been hearing that, but I honestly don't know what to do about it. I think it's something just on Discord with my internet connection, but I've been told that the recording is fine. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you
I
gonna
believe
do?
we have another question for...
Real quick,
when they say-
before we do that. Sorry to
I
interrupt.
think they meant to say Brony.
Yeah, Eliora, make sure you come and find me on Thursday at BronyCon. I need you and a Charky to come and find me on Thursday at BronyCon. Just make a note of that. Anyway, what's her question?
Well, it says here, question to Brony, which I mean, Brony, have you tried writing a fanfic? And I believe the answer is yes. Brony, tell him about that.
I did write a fanfic. It was a multi-layered symbolism fanfic, kind of a writing exercise for myself. It's called Dreamquestria. It's on FimFiction under the name the double B of C, so BB of C. It just stands for Brony Buck of Canterlot, and the avatar is, myself as in an Equestria Girls form. So
I think that one's actually on my list of to read.
Yeah, so it's long. It's a human in Equestria because I wanted to see if I could do human in Equestria well. It was like a genre that I was interested in at the time, but didn't see any good execution on. I also wanted to see if I could write a main character that was completely, maybe not completely, but as opposite to me as possible. And it's also an allegory for what happens when you become a brony. So there's there's that.
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
How about your thoughts on the Flim Flam development?
I thought we agreed that the Flim Flams didn't really have any sort of development.
It's a question.
Yeah. My thoughts on the Flim Flam development are that the Flim Flams have not developed.
Anyone else?
They're successful at what they do until the main six show up.
Or until Applejack shows up, more specifically.
But they did got the Vegas location if they kept it.
Mm-hmm.
What on Sunset Shimmer's development? What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, let's go down the list here. Like Neo, what do you think about Sunset Shimmer's development?
That's developed pretty well. Even though he have only been there for a short time, he really changed over the time.
Okay, Skan, what do you think?
Wait, me?
No, Skan.
What?
What do you think about Sunset Shimmer's development?
It's part of the distraction from the main show that never should have been made.
I had a feeling we were going to get something like that. Skan is...
You have such a strong opinion.
Skan is notorious for not liking Equestria girls. Countess, what do you think?
I think Sunset Shimmer has turned from human version of evil Twilight into somewhat good version of Twilight.
Is she a version of evil? Is she an evil Twilight though? Because
she's like, well, like she was like, it's like kind of funny. It's just like they introduce these characters that are like opposite of Twilight, and then they kind of turn them into Twilight. I'm just like, okay.
Well, to my understanding, she studied and was dedicated to it, but it was a lot more in a way of grabbing at power. So she was always more hands-on with everything that she did. I don't see that as too much of a parallel.
Okay, so she was assertive Twilight with higher aspirations than what she was allowed.
Okay, I guess I can see that. Heather, what do you think?
Sunset Shimmer, she's definitely come a long way since that first movie. Like, the first movie was just like, ugh, this kind of character. But then she slowly turned into something we could enjoy. And now I see her, and I am not irritated by her. She's actually okay. That's the best development you could hope for.
One thing's for certain, she's definitely better than Equestria Girls Rarity.
Brony, do you want me to stay here? I can leave anytime I want. I don't think you realize I have that freedom.
That's what you get for you did something. I just can't remember what it was.
Oh, this guy also abuse at anything, but when he does something to me for no reason, I don't need to have a reason. Yes, here we go.
I'm a horrible person. This is not news to anybody. It looks like we got some other questions here.
What would you say about the development of your own characters?
Well, I'm a double amputee, so I'd say I've had a pretty drastic sort of development here for myself. But I don't know, Countess, have you ever had any sort of character development for yourself?
I don't know. My character is just kind of like me. There's a couple other characters that I've been trying to write / make a comic of for like years at this point. So I need to work on that.
Okay, well, tell us what your comic is about. I'm interested now.
I've been trying to work on the backstory of my character's grandparents for the longest freaking time.
Oh, that was the changeling and the pony that met up, right?
Yes, that's the changeling and the earth pony that fell and met and had a son, and then that ended up in me.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Standard pony falls in love with a changeling story. I don't want it to be is my goal.
Mm-hmm. Neo, you were making a comic for one of your first owners, weren't you? What kind of character development should we expect to see out of that?
Okay. Well, what is it? That's the two type of comics I'm working on. I know one for Natalie. It was more about how she wanted to join into a fighting competition. She really wanted to be the best at, but then as she joins, she realized the crushing reality of how hard it's actually going to be.
That's interesting. So yeah, guys, NeoAnton's DeviantArt is in the description of this video. Make sure you go follow him so you can keep up to date when he starts making more of those comics. I've seen the first couple of pages already, and they're pretty good.
Yeah.
And Heather, tell us about your character development.
Development? I've always been this great. Don't need no development here. Can't mess with perfection.
Okay, is it wrong that when you did that, I was picturing you as that as like that doing that wavy arm thing that the hippo woman from Gretzko does?
Brony, I'm gonna be completely direct with you. I could not understand a word you just said.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so while you were saying that, I had this mental image in my head of you doing that wavy arm thing that the hippo woman from Gretzko does. Is that wrong?
Yes, that's not wrong at all. I was completely doing that.
All right. So my character development has been interesting in that I've been trying to develop, but not doing a very good job of it. 'Cause when I was younger, when I had wings and a thicker mane, I tended to be really aggressive in my problem solving. And eventually, when everything kind of fell out from under me, as essentially by my own doing from being too aggressive, then I sort of had this kind of come to Jesus moment where I realized I have to try to be better. And since then, I have been trying to be better, but it also it takes a lot more to set me off than it used to, but it still takes a lot less than it should. So my character development is that I'm trying, and also I'm extremely poor, so that it makes it being destitute all the time doesn't make anything easier anyway. So that's what I got going on, and I don't think Skan has too much of a backstory for himself. Is that a correct assumption, Skan? Or
Yeah, I don't have much of a backstory.
all right, nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
We got 5 minutes. Is there anything? Well, we got actually like 8 minutes. Is there any other questions?
There's what are your thoughts on static characters or characters whose personalities never change? The story goes on. Spike's development, Lightning Dust's development.
Okay, so Lightning Dust didn't develop. Because she didn't learn anything from what happened. She just kind of took the. We've seen that she's crafty enough to take a bad situation like getting kicked out of the Wonderbolts and turn it into something relatively successful, but you still gets a comeuppance for it. It's only so daring you can be. You can only play with fire for so long before you get burned. That's my thoughts. Does anybody else have anything to add to that?
Not much.
No?
I'm kind of behind on that aspect of the show.
Oh, you got to watch the Washouts episode if you haven't seen it. It's really good. Alrighty then. And then we had Spike. Spike has been interesting because he's a kid, and you often got to teach kids something similar over and over again. He definitely has wrestled with ego, but I think his biggest problem is greed. In that, dragon. In that when he starts, you give him an inch, he just takes a mile, and before he even realizes what he's doing, next thing you know, the castle is flooded and there's a broken water main in the street, and dragon sneeze trees, petals scattered all over the place, or the water tower is busted because he trapped the Wonderbolts inside of it on a Godzilla rampage, just something like that. That's what we see a lot out of Spike. You give him an inch and he takes a mile. What do you guys think?
Spike kind of grew in a way. More like for him, if I had to simplify, more him just trying to find himself mostly.
Say that again?
Yeah, because, what was it? First he was just, the first season, the first 2 seasons, he pretty much just the slacky of just trying to help Twilight out until he decided that he wanted to actually move out and be his own person when he went to see the dragons. That didn't work out. So he figured out that he'd be off staying at Ponyville with people that actually trust him and he's friends with. Then we see how he became a hero of the Crystal Empire, helping them out. And what else? When he found somebody that would pretend to be his father that wasn't his father, and that helped him realize who he actually was the whole time.
Mm.
So,
but is
like
things like introducing Thorax and becoming a hero of the Crystal Empire, are those developments or is that accomplishments? I believe those are two different things.
For Thorax, I'm not sure what to say about Thorax. I don't remember that episode clearly. I know it was mainly him trying to prove that Thorax wasn't a threat. So.
Yeah, well, what I was saying was, well, in that he wasn't willing to give up his reputation for Thorax initially. So what I was saying was, what I believe you're calling a development, I'm calling an accomplishment, and that I believe those are two different things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Alrighty then. So I think we're good on that question, unless somebody has something they want to chime in with.
10 seconds.
Do we?
Yeah, well, that's what my timer says. 10 seconds.
Okay. In that...
No, doesn't matter anymore. Not 10 seconds anymore. You have no second.
Okay, well, this is my stream, and I make the rules, and I say we got another half hour. Who's ready to go? Everybody's like, no, get me out of here. Okay, so let's give some closing thoughts here. We definitely learned a little bit about Spike, about Lightning Dust, about Twilight, Shining Armor, and I would personally say we haven't learned as much about Fluttershy that we didn't already know. I'd say her developments have definitely had the most amount of screen time. So what do you think, Countess? Anything to close out on?
Yeah, I think this has been a very productive discussion.
Nice. I love learning.
Yay, learning!
Yep.
Nerds!
Skan has been quiet, but have you enjoyed yourself tonight, Skan?
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. And Neo, thank you so much for suggesting this topic. How'd you feel about this? You want to close out on anything?
It went pretty well. Saw some different angles. I especially didn't see the Sonic Armor point coming up.
Yep, the Shining Armor was definitely an interesting conversation. So, guys, be sure to check out everybody's links in the descriptions. The people that, my Patreon folks that support this channel and these videos. Countess is amazing at artwork. Heather does crocheting. Neo has a couple of fursonas and a comic that he's working on. He's also done a couple of videos himself that are halfway decent. Just whatever you do, don't watch Brony's stuff because I hate that guy. Anyway.
I'm running an art raffle, by the way.
Oh, yeah, art raffle. Tell us about the art raffle real quick.
Okay, so my art raffle is on my channel. You have to be subscribed and like the video and comment on the video that's announcing it to enter. It is basically a award for my subscribers because I finally reached 2K.
Nice.
And it's just going to be a randomized raffle of a headshot of 3 people will win a headshot of any character they want.
Can I enter, or is that a conflict of interest?
No, you can enter.
All right, I think I will then. All right. Thanks for coming out, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you, Heather, for moderating the chat. You did a great job. Shout-outs to my Patreon supporters over $10 per video. These guys are Autoknight, Sodden Girder, Senko, Jennan, Kellogg, Kyle Christensen, DJ Skywalker, Mike's Geek World. Gosh darn, there's a lot of names. And the Equestrian City Heroverse series. If you guys want to come on these live streams, I would love to have you. You just gotta be in my Discord server, which you get by becoming a supporter on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. And I hope to see you all soon. This Saturday, I believe, we're going to be on Heather's channel, live streaming some crocheting. And then we'll see you maybe next Friday. Yeah, because BronyCon won't be happening yet. So next Friday for the next installment of Friday Night Fights, where I try and usually fail to play video games. So again, thanks for the chat, for coming out and listening. Thanks to all you guys for being a part of the conversation. I love you guys, and have a great night. Say bye.
Bye.
Yes.
Yeah.